All right, guys. So now I want you guys to read and analyze this email. You guys are welcome to read it on your own, or you can read it along with me. So this is an email from Dr. Alex Young, who's the head biologist. You also saw her in the video. So it says, "Hello, student biologists. I'd like to ask for your help in investigating the following claims. These claims were brought to us by park visitors. Claim 1. Some people think that some newts became more poisonous because they wanted to. Newts do seem like smart creatures. Claim 2. Others suggest something in the environment causes the newts to become more poisonous. It says, please let us know what you find out about these claims." All right, so I want you guys on your Google form to tell me in your own words, what is Dr. Young asking you to do? Go ahead, pause this video now and type it out in your Google form. Go ahead, pause it now. All right, so if you're back on, then you should be telling me in your own words, what was Dr. Young asking you? And you should have said something similar to, Dr. Young is asking us to give our why. What are some evidence behind what the newts are becoming, why are they becoming more poisonous? Let's go over some key terms that you'll need in order to go through some of these things. So here are some key terms: natural selection, selective breeding, variation, genetic variation, adaptation, evolve, and evolution. You guys have on your Google form the words that you need to define and give an example of each. You can go ahead and pause this video as you are defining and giving those examples. All right, so natural selection, here's the definition: the process whereby organisms better adapt to their environment, tend to survive, and produce more offspring. You guys are welcome to write this verbatim, or you can put this into your own words. Go ahead, write it down now. Here are some examples. So, nobody. Natural selection is survival of the fittest. There's no agent involved in natural selection. Natural selection is a process of elimination. Individuals that have traits that are best adapted for the current environment are the ones that survive to breed and pass on their genes to the next generation. Organisms not possessing the beneficial traits, either they die or they don't have many offspring. And this is pretty interesting because this is how things happen in the wild all the time. I'll give you guys an example. So here's an example of the peppered moth. So in England in the early 1800s, they noticed that the peppered moth was actually a dark colored moth. And it was, to actually see a dark colored moth was pretty rare. You normally saw it to be a lighter colored, the bark on the trees in Europe at the time were light colored. So if they appear to be dark, those will be the ones that the prey will come and eat the most, right? Well, there was some kind of factory, they were burning coal and they turned all of the peppered moth dark. So when they noticed that around 1850s, the lighter colored ones were beginning to be eaten. And the ones that were covered in the coal end up not being eaten. And so those are the ones, somehow they became better suited in the environment, and they actually were able to outlive the lighter colored ones. So now there is some kind of DNA pigment where they are some kind of genetic disorder where they were able to change the color of their actual skin. And now those are the ones that have survived. So now you see the dark colored moths were the ones that actually survived. So there's your example. If you want to use mine, you can, or if you want to get your own, you can also do that. Your next key term is selective breeding. Here's your definition: intentional breeding of two individuals to produce offspring with desired or favored characteristics. Y'all, this is my all-time great, I love to teach this stuff. I'm so sad that I can't teach it in front of you guys, but I'm gonna do my best to give you guys my enthusiasm over this YouTube video. All right, so selective breeding is something people do all the time, right? You want this big dog and you want different kinds of dogs. So you breed different kinds of dogs together in order to make a specific dog that you want, right? That's why we have an American Bulldog. And that's why I have the name American, because at first it wasn't like that, right? So yeah, those are some examples. You can use your own. You can pause this video and you could write those down. Here's some more examples though. So you have your domesticated animals, you have your chicken, dogs, and cows, you have some plants, corn. Corn was genetically bred. Broccoli was genetically bred. It was something that people, they took a vegetable, mixed it with a flour, and put it together and thought people would eat it because it was like a flower and people like flowers. Yeah, it's crazy, but that's what people do. All right, the next one is variation and genetic variation. So here's the definition for variation, and here's the definition for genetic variation. So once again, you can pause this and type those out. Different or distinct forms of or version of something is what a variation is. And then your genetic variation is when you have the differences in DNA among individuals. This includes mutations and genetic recombination. So one has the actual DNA in it and the other one is just a different version of it. So the next one is adaptation and evolve. So here once again, this is your definition for adaptation, and this is your definition for evolution. So adaptation is the characteristics that help an organism survive in order to reproduce. And then your evolution is the gradual development of something, especially from a simple to a more complex form. So this is how they say we kind of evolved here on Earth, like we came from cavemen and then we like evolved to something great into nature, is what scientists believe. There are 3 types of adaptations, and you don't have to write this down anywhere, but I just want you guys to know. We'll come back to it later. You have your structural adaptations, your behavioral adaptations, and your physiological adaptations. And so here are some examples of those, okay? So an example of structural will be long legs, right? An example of behavioral will be migration, like when birds actually migrate south because it's some kind of instinctive or learned behavior, right? And then physiology is to perform special functions within the body. So that's like venom when your snakes spit venom out. That's a physiological adaptation that they do. All right, guys, go ahead, write those definitions down, and we'll move on tomorrow.